It turns out that these Chinese companies that are saying that luxury brands are being made in China might not be telling 100% the truth. I'm gonna be correcting some stuff that I said in a previous video, but my main point that the reason that they made these propaganda videos saying that Chinese are making that these luxury products is not to get you to buy the luxury products that are from Italy, from France, that go to China to do some processes from China, but to so in the future, when Chinese start making their own luxury products, that they could have more credibility because they say, oh, we already made the European ones. Now we're just making our own Chinese homegrown stuff. So let's check it out.
US and EU laws around labeling aren't just fussy, they are practically forensic. Made in Italy and made in France require rigorous processes. From material sourcing to final assembly, everything has to happen on the home turf. Take Hermes, for example. The Rolls-Royce of handbags and footwear isn't flirting with Chinese outsourcing, or this is what they claim. They say their bags are crafted in quaint French workshops by artisans who train longer than some doctors. One reportedly has to complete a 5-year course to get the certification to make a Birkin bag. From leather tanning to final stitches. Hermes says it keeps it strictly French, and each bag is authenticated with artisan codes because, of course, even your handbag needs a passport before shipping off.
Y'all remember the video where the dude broke down the price of Hermes bag and he said like where they source the materials from?
One piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD. And one piece of the leather is only enough to make one Birkin. Fil al chinois from France. This is actually the Rolls-Royce in thread. For each bag, the cost is 25 USD. For one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD. The edge oil, for each bag, it will cost 50 USD. The interior lining, it used lambskin imported from France. For each bag, the cost will be 100 USD. And the vapor for one bag is 10 USD. The cost of human resource. The French artisans is much more expensive than Chinese artisans. To finish one bag, the human resource cost will be 600 USD. The package, this is not that expensive, it's 10 USD. The total cost will be 1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory. But why Hermes will charge you 38,000 USD for one bag? That's because more than 90% of the price is paid for its logo. But if you do not care about the logo, you just want the same quality, same material, you can just buy from us. Because for our bags, we use exactly the same material, same leather, same hardware, same edge oil. The only difference is one, we don't have the logo.
Hermes is saying that they're not outsourcing that manufacturing process for their bags to China at all. But the thing is, these Chinese companies are still able to source the same material that is used for an Hermes bag and bring it over to China to make their own version or even a replica bag of these Hermes bags. But my thing is, let's say both these things are true. China is able to source the same material that Hermes is using, and Hermes is not using China and the manufacturing process at all. The thing is, China is trying to do this because the Chinese luxury brand market has overtaken the European luxury brand market only in China. Now they want to compete with the European luxury brand market to the rest of the world. And one way to do this is by getting the propaganda out there. That's why the government want to get rid of TikTok or at least sell it to an American person or someone else, because they're able to spread propaganda like this so easily. Like all of a sudden, China is saying that, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, and then on TikTok just runs with it. Y'all don't see anything weird about that. But besides that, and I don't think terms got anything to do with it also. I think it's more like this. The Chinese companies that are able to sell their Chinese products in China, the Chinese luxury brand products specifically, now want to compete with Europe in the luxury brand market to the rest of the world. Now they put out this propaganda that, oh, the European luxury brands already being made in China. It's just they get touched up in Europe for a higher price. So now you're thinking about, oh, the European artisans and the Chinese artisan is the only difference. So the Chinese artisan might be in the same quality, it might be just as good as the European artisan. That's the whole thing to make you think of China and luxury in the same sentence instead of Europe and luxury in the same sentence. So you think that, oh, if I buy this Chinese bag, it's not some cheap Chinese good, it's actually a bag of high quality because they're able to source them in the same place. The only thing is the artisans are just different. So that's what I think is going on. And I got another video to prove the point that the Chinese brands in China, the luxury brands specifically, are out taking the European luxury brands.
China used to be the promised land for the $380 billion luxury goods business. Now, it is the land of losses. Today, we're looking at why the luxury business became so dependent on China and why it's suffering now. Secret reason for why luxury is suffering in China, and that is the rise of local brands. From watches to jewelry to fashion, even supercars, China is now making its own luxury products. And because there's a new kind of nationalism in China that values Chinese brands, luxury companies are now winning over the European brands. China brands are doing the same thing with supercars, with other luxury goods, and this is a big threat to the European company.
Do it makes more sense that they're doing this because of tariffs? To me personally, no. Because if they're doing this because of tariffs, the people that could afford the bag at the price of $38,000 could afford the bag if the prices go up. And the people that can't afford the bag, they're gonna buy the replica or knockoff anyways. This makes more sense to me that they're just trying to enter the luxury brand market, and they're using propaganda to make them seem like they can make these luxury brands, and they're already able to source the same materials. And another thing is, I've seen some YouTubers make this great point, right? Let's say that they were outsourcing part of the manufacturing process to these Chinese companies, and they had them sign NDA so that they the secret don't get out. First, they violated the NDA. Second, they show that they can't trust them to keep a secret, so they're not gonna make the bags in there no more. So they're gonna lose business of getting these companies help send the bags over there so they could make them. And they're gonna try to have to compete with their own wonton 2 bags in the rest of the market. Because why would you say, oh, you violate my NDA, I'm not going on in China, I'm gonna go to Vietnamese, I'm gonna go to another poor country or another place that has cheap labor, get them to make it over there instead of going to China, which in the long run would hurt these Chinese companies, because a lot of people don't really care about the wonton 2 bags. I'm just gonna be honest. And another thing that makes more sense to me is they're probably not involved in the manufacturing process at all, but now people starting to think of China and luxury in the same sentence. So now when the Chinese homegrown luxury brands go into the real world, they seem more credible, they seem more luxury, because currently right now, people think of Chinese manufacturing as just cheap Chinese good that they would be mass produced at a time. Because why would you use a product that's not going to be mass produced and send to China to be made? Because China's for mass producing products. And do you think these luxury brands are going to be mass produced? I don't think they're going to be mass produced, because if they're mass produced, they're not luxury no more. Like, it's going to lower the price, because what is it, supply and demand, or the more you make of something, the cheaper it gets to make that product. Like, it's just economics to me. That's why it wouldn't be made in China. So me saying some of the stuff I said in the first video, I might have got it wrong, and I'm making this video to like correct some of the things I said, but I'm still holding on to my main point that the Chinese luxury brands are trying to compete in the rest of the world. That's why they're doing this, because this is propaganda. How does this just blow up on TikTok? Like, you don't think that China is pushing their hand on the algorithm a little bit to get this spreading? Like, come on now. That's all I got for you today. And hey, yo, I'm out. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. YouTube rules say I have to say this. Smash the like button. Hey, yo, I'm out.
And we're out of here like a screaming herd of turtles.